Hello, my name is John Kerver. I currently work for a contractor that provides acquisition support to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, which is under the Department of Commerce, which I work out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. Um, my job is to provide acquisition support from cradle to grave, pre-award, post-award, cost analysis, assisting the contracting officers in negotiations, writing DNFs, J&As, P&Ms, price negotiation memorandums, and everything has to do with with acquisition. The organization inside NIST is called the Acquisition Management Division. I arrived in this organization in November 2010 and immediately was provided 3 contracts that had ongoing protests. These protests were due to poorly written evaluations from the source selection evaluation team. Contracts were protesting on information they felt that were not in the size solicitations when they were bidding on them. Evaluation criteria inside Section M, they were being debriefed on information they had no idea about. My local problem statement for this video is source selections, sections L and M, subsequent evaluations at the inside this organization are being inadequately performed. I believe 40 to 50% of the time. This has direct impact on the required activities, mission accomplishment, in acquisition milestone planning, which can cause unnecessary work stoppages due to stop work orders have to be issued when protests are filed. The goal is by the end of third quarter of FY11 to have 100% accuracy in writing the source selection and evaluation criteria that of course ensure proper evaluations. What I come to find out in reviewing these contract files that there was 30 source selections written in FY10. 12 of those source selections were protested, with 3 of them, as I said earlier, being strictly with the evaluation criteria that the contractors felt they were inadequately evaluated once they got their debriefings. This is totally unacceptable. How you have you have contractors that are debriefed on bad information should never happen. There's too many checks and balances that should occur within the contracting office for this not to happen. Some of the alternatives that you could use, it was clear to me that the contract specialists and even some of the contracting officers really had no clue how to write source selections. They did not work with it was clearly apparent that they did not work with the required activity sufficiently enough to help them understand how to write a statement of work and how you're supposed to take from that statement of work information you want those contracts to be evaluated on, that you put in Section M and that you are supposed to explain in Section L. To me, it's pretty basic in source selections. I mean, you have different levels of complexity, but it's pretty basic. For this not to happen, I come to find out that there wasn't even any reviews done. Legal, I don't know what they did. This should have been caught there. It should have been caught by the policy team there. There's a lot of broken parts to this process that just shouldn't have happened. And the director of this organization had asked our team to assist in developing some solutions and to hopefully correct this, and maybe suggest some training for the contract specialists and some of the contracting officers to understand it, and of course training to the customer. Required activity. I found that in many instances there was not any disclosure statement signed. And that's basic. You know, when you have a source selection evaluation team evaluating a proposal, you're supposed to have those done. In many instances, there wasn't even a plan given to them to direct them how to review the ratings. Excellent, good, moderate. What does it mean? Significant strength, weaknesses. All this information was not clearly given to the required activity. The goal obviously is to make sure this doesn't happen, to make sure that the proposals are evaluated properly. And the best solution to this is just put these guys through training classes, through source selection. They need to work with the required activity during the preparation of the statement of work, to let the required activity know that you're supposed to pull that information from the statement of work and put it in section M, and explain in section L what your expectations are, and that they're going to be evaluated on. And after they're evaluated properly, to make sure your debriefing is written properly, you know, explaining what their strengths or weaknesses are, why they didn't get the award, and you never debrief the contractor on and let them know that they're didn't follow the on criteria that's not inside the contract. That simply shouldn't happen. And in the end, the director of this organization wants us to come up with some solutions in a report to assure that in FY11 the source selections are written properly and accurately. To me, this is not rocket science. It's basic functions of, you know, of a contract specialist and a contracting officer to understand this. There's many models out there. I mean, obviously the Department of Commerce is a civilian agency. You know, I'm born and bred in a DoD organization as I work contracting in the Air Force. I'm retired Air Force. A lot of models out there to use, a lot of manuals out there to utilize. And this is what I'm going to recommend. There's no way you have to reinvent the wheel on source selections. I mean, there's only two types: best value and lowest price technically acceptable. And that's another thing. All these were best value, where I thought I saw that the complexity clearly, in many instances, demanded probably a lowest price technically acceptable instead of the best value. And I also saw that in some of these best value source selections, that they were doing cost realism analysis in a firm fixed price contract, which you only do that in the cost reimbursement. You do cost analysis, but you don't do cost realism. But in the end, my job is to help them understand how source selection should work, and I believe we'll be able to achieve that at the end of FY11. And the problem-solving methods that we learned here in class, I mean, that could apply to anything we do in contracting. And, you know, identify the problem clarification, develop the alternatives, choose the best solution, implement the solution, and evaluate the decision. You know, risk management can be thrown in there as well. So, I can thank you for your time and attention, and 3 more weeks left, and we'll be finished with the class here. Thank you so much, and have a nice evening.